For this question, we want to determine the amplitude and period of this function, y equals 7 sine of 2 pi x, and then we'll graph the thing over here in the xy plane. So to start with, we're asked for the amplitude, which is how far the trig function oscillates from the x-axis. This is determined by the number that is multiplied to the front of this function. So this 7 will multiply all of the y values by 7. The amplitude is always recorded as a positive number. So if you have a negative number being multiplied to the front of your trig function, it would just be the absolute value of that number for the amplitude. So in this case, it's 7. So I'll check my answer. Okay, now we need the period. Because we don't just have an x, we have 2 pi x, this is going to affect how the graph goes horizontally. If there were no 2 pi, if this were just sine of x, the period itself would be 2 pi. To determine the period, you would divide 2 pi by whatever number you have in front of this x, which is actually also 2 pi. The period is 2 pi over 2 pi, and that just simplifies to 1. So when we travel a distance of 1 on the x-axis, we will get 1 full cycle of this trig function. Now to actually graph the function itself, I'm going to click here to enlarge the graph. And there are some tools over to the side. And this one here is the Sine Tool. And this one here is the Cosine Tool. Since the function we're given is sine, I want to use this thing here. So I'll click here. And you can click anywhere in the xy plane, and it'll put a basic sine function, the original one with an amplitude of 1 and period of 2 pi. But over here, you can enter in information to adjust the equation to this one. So like for starters, I see the amplitude is 7, so I'll put that there. And we figured out, so you can see like the value here went all the way up to 7 and down here to -7. And the period should be 1, so I'll enter that as well. And I can see I get 1 full cycle of sine as we travel from 0 to 1. And then you get another one as you travel from 0 to 2. And the same thing happens as we go in the opposite direction. So let's kind of click off to the side, and I'll save this, and it puts the graph of this function here. Be careful, some of these questions ask for you to also graph the original function itself. It would state that within the problem. That's not stated here, so that should be enough to answer this question. Let's try it out. So when doing these functions, it'll probably ask you for like amplitude, period, possibly something called a phase shift. Try to figure those things out first, and then use it to get a graph of your function.